Chapter 2 The Cowherd. "Oh, wow," Annie said. "These clothes feel so soft. And look, I have a pocket for my secret library card." Jack opened his eyes. Their clothes had magically changed. They no longer wore jeans, t-shirts, and sneakers. Instead, they had on baggy pants, loose shirts, straw shoes, and round hats. Annie's shirt had a pocket in it. Jack saw that his backpack had become a rough-looking cloth sack. Inside were his research book, his notebook, his library card, and the bamboo strip. "Cows," said Annie, looking out the window. Jack looked out too. The treehouse had landed in a lone tree in a sunny field. Cows grazed, and a young man stood watching over them. At the edge of the field was a farmhouse. Beyond the house was a walled city. "It looks so peaceful," said Annie. "You can never be sure," said Jack. "Remember, Pompeii looked peaceful before the volcano went off." "Oh, yeah," said Annie. "Let's look what the book says," said Jack. He reached into the sack and pulled out the china book. He opened it and read aloud. Over 2,000 years ago, China was ruled by the first emperor. Because he chose the dragon to be his symbol, he was called the Dragon King. In China, dragons are seen as brave and powerful creatures. "Dragon King? That sounds a little scary," said Jack. "I like his outfit," said Annie. Next to the writing was a picture. It showed a man wearing a rich, flowing robe with wide sleeves. He also wore a tall hat with beads hanging from it. Jack pulled out his notebook and wrote, "First Emperor called Dragon King." "The book we need must be in the Dragon King's library," said Annie. "I bet his palace is in that city." Jack looked up. "Right," he said, "and that's how to get there." He pointed across the field to a dirt road that led to the walled city. "Good plan," said Annie. She climbed out of the treehouse and started down the rope ladder. Jack threw the china book and his notebook into his sack. He slung the sack over his shoulder and followed Annie. When they reached the ground, they started through the field. "Look, that guy's waving at us," said Annie. The man tending the cows was shouting and waving. He started running toward them. "Uh-oh, what's he want?" said Jack. A moment later, the man stood in their path. He was young and handsome with a kind face. "Can you do me a great favor?" he asked. "I would be most grateful." "Of course," said Annie. "Give a message to the silk weaver. You will see her at the farmhouse," said the young man. "Tell her to meet me here at midnight." "Sure, no problem," said Annie. The young man smiled. "Thank you," he said. Then he started to leave. "Wait, excuse me," said Jack. "Do you know where we can find the Imperial Library?" A look of horror crossed the man's face. "Why?" he whispered. "Oh, I just wondered," said Jack. The young man shook his head. "Beware of the Dragon King," he said. "Whatever you do, beware." Then he turned and ran back to the cows. "Oh, man," whispered Jack. "Now we know one thing for sure." "What?" asked Annie. "This place is not as peaceful as it seems," Jack said. All right, what new types of clothes did they have on? What animal did they see out the window? What was the first emperor called? And what favor did the young man ask them?